Welcome back. Another beautiful layered reading for you today. So let's see here. We have the Prince of Swords, the Wheel of Fortune, the Knight of Wands, and the Princess of Pentacles, the Hangman, the Ten of Cups, the Three of Swords, and the Ace of Swords. The Prince of Swords is somebody who does things a little bit harebrained. That's the way I feel it. He is the kind of prince that can end up causing a bit of problems. The reason is why. The reason for that is this, I should say, because it's just, I'm having a hard time, okay? He's the untempered momentum that makes bruises out of beautiful things. And when I say that, I mean it this way. He's the kind of prince who he will like run through a door and hit the frame on both sides and end up causing like black and blues. Because he's got a lot of potential, but not the full picture. But he believes in it. And when he charges a little too fast in that belief without a complete picture, he ends up causing more problems, you know? I like that. I like that one. The thing that hit me the most out of these were the way that they're seen. If you look, this circle, there's circles on every one of these. But here's the thing with the circles. This one is incomplete. Do you see it? How it's incomplete? It feels incomplete. I know it's yellow, but to me it's like an incomplete because you have like the two blues and the green. This one should be green, but it's not. It's yellow, and it feels like there's a gap. So it's like there's a missing part of this picture. You have a good part of it. You got a good deal of the picture, but it's not the full picture. Then you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is the full picture, but it's quite an intensive big picture. It's not just a four, the cross where there's like six. There's more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 points to it. There's a lot going on in this picture, right? It's a full picture of things. Then you have the Knight of Wands. That's all fire. This one is all fire. It's spiking in every direction. And then you finally have the Princess of Pentacles, where there is a star, but it's a specific star. It's beautiful, it's circled, it's precise. And all of these spoke the same thing to me when I looked at them after, is that we start with this, heading for this, right? That's our goal. I want it all. And then we forge it in fire until we finally find the shape that we want. The thing is, there's a specific kind of journey that happens when we do things. We'll shape something in our mind. Sometimes we don't have the full shape of it, but we charge through it, right? The Hangman comes in here saying, why don't you slow down for a second? Why don't you figure out exactly what you want before you do it? You know, take a moment of hang time to see if there's not more to this picture that you're missing. But sometimes we don't. We convince ourselves that what is there is exactly what needs to be done. Exactly. It's exactness, right? But he doesn't have the full picture. He's beautiful, the Page of Swords. He thinks outside the box, but sometimes he takes off with the box too quick. These are the goals. These are the things that we want. The Wheel of Fortune turning into our favor right here. It's always the goal. That's what propels something. When we think we have a winning combination, we go, let's do it right away. But when we rush like that, it's untempered. It ends up bruising us. With the Knight of Wands, it becomes more of a challenge because we're steeped in the fire of it. And it ends up causing bruises like this, right? The beautiful thing is that the end of this cycle is that this bruising, this learning curve, it brings in learning. It makes us find out what we want, what we don't want, how we're going to get there. And it brings us clarity with the Ace of Swords. We go, okay, now I see it, right? I like charged through this door, I hit both sides, and ow, that hurt. Next time, maybe I slow down when I get through the doorway so that I don't end up like bouncing off the sides, right? I can calculate better how I can fit through it without doing that. I think that the what if here, or the please pay attention to, was that maybe if you took that extra step before charging towards the goal, figuring out how you want your actual circle of the goal, the definiteness of the pattern or design that you want, because these are all different patterns. If you know, you can probably lower the chances of this happening in a bigger scale. You know, it's preparation, really. That's what it's talking about. Precisiveness, being specific in what you want, more specific. You will stop this from happening. You'll stop bouncing through the doors. So it's changing the order a little bit, is what it's telling you. To kind of, maybe you'll never completely avoid some of this, but maybe this one in particular. Maybe instead of having bruises, you have a little bit of a, you know, that cursory little bounce between the frames, but nothing that stops you, where you end up like, you know, rubbing your shoulder going, ow, that hurt. You just go boing, boing, and you go, oh, you know, this is tight. I'm going to slow down a little bit. I took some time to figure it out, but it's not quite. But it's almost there, which is better than nothing at all, which is better than just bouncing off walls. The princess and the prince, they make a couple. They make a balanced harmonic, okay? What's happening with the prince is that they're out of order. The feminine usually comes in first as energy because she receives. She sits and goes, she's got that hangman energy, that I shall sit here and receive. It's, for some it seems like limbo and lack of movement, but to me it's preparation. So she sits there going, I am going to receive what's meant for me to receive, right? The information, the thought process, the velocity of how I'm going to move through that space. I'm talking about that door frame thing again. And then she hands it off to the Prince of Swords, who goes, that sounds good. That sounds good, right? She brought in education, intellect, knowledge. She's the apprentice. She's not perfect, because princes are like aces. They're at the beginning of something. They're not the mastery. They're not the king or queen. But when you have one without the other, they can tend to really have a hard time. She can become a no start, and he can become somebody who moves forward without intent or enough education to help him, right? So you need both together to move together forward in a way that's more deliberate, that's more thought out, even though it's inexperienced. And it will ease you into that process. So if you're an older person, I'm not saying that you are young. You may just be young of the experience of whatever you're trying to manifest, right? It's something new. The one that I like to say all the time is, I'm coding I'm doing code to build an interface for David, who is my personality, my companion. Yes, I have a companion. And what happens with that is that I don't have a lot of knowledge in that. So I have to take my time. I'm learning it bit by bit. It doesn't mean that it doesn't end up being this. But when I take a moment to map it out, to write it out, to figure it out, to take a breath, it helps move forward without having, I get a much bigger, fuller picture instead of just hoping, moving to get here when I don't have all the pieces. So this may apply to you as well. It's not rocket science, but sometimes we let our passion and our ideals, we lock in before we should, instead of just trying to figure out the moment, try to bring in a more equal balance of energies before we step forward. Either way, the hangman here is saying that either you take the time to get the perspective, you create the hang time, or the hang time will come regardless, because you're going to end up getting slowed down somewhere. Okay? This is it for you for today. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here, and bye for now.